Hi guys, and welcome back to a new hands-on video by Mirror Lessons. Today I'm in London to see the new Leica SL. It's a brand new camera, actually a brand new system by Leica. It's full frame, it's mirrorless, and it's aimed at professional photographers. As you can see, the camera with the lens is quite big. The body is actually pretty heavy for a mirrorless camera, it's almost 1 kilo. The lens is large also because it's a 24 to 90 millimeter 2.8 to f4. The combo together weighs a lot. It's almost like a professional DSLR with a 24-70 2.8 lens. If I compare it to the A7, you can see that the A7 Mark II is slightly smaller, and of course in this case I have a prime lens, so that doesn't count. But the Leica SL is definitely larger and heavier in comparison to other mirrorless cameras. How does it feel? Well, I have to say, like every Leica camera, it's very well built. The body is weather sealed, it's made from a solid block of aluminum, so that definitely doesn't disappoint. There are a few interesting things about this camera. And first, there is a dual SD card slot. Now, that's something that many professional photographers complain about mirrorless cameras, and even some of them are actually reluctant in switching to a mirrorless system because there's only one SD card slot. Now, personally, I always use camera with one slot, and I know many other photographers that did the same. I never had the issue, but it's definitely something that other people will appreciate. Another nice thing about this camera is the viewfinder. It's actually the largest electronic viewfinder on the market right now. It has a 4.4 million dots of resolution. It's very nice to use. It's 60 frames per second, also in no light conditions like the Fuji X-T1 viewfinder. It's very nice to really compose with a viewfinder that large. And with viewfinders like the one in the M1, the X-T1 or the A7R Mark II, really shows that the electronic viewfinder, in my opinion, are the future, especially when you can get that kind of quality. Another interesting thing, again, that professional photographers will appreciate is the OLED panel here, and you can quickly check your settings, and if you have pressed the shutter release button, it's going to show you your depth of field scale. Like the Leica Q, you have a touch screen, so you can change your focus point, take a picture, also slide back and forth when you play back your pictures. Unfortunately, you cannot tilt the screen, so that's a shame. That would be a nice feature as well. Another thing is that, if you can notice on the back, the button layout is very minimalistic. There's actually not any single marking. And that's the same concept that Leica has with the S. And so basically you have 4 main buttons here that you can customize. And if you press one, it's gonna bring some functions or the menu system. If you press and hold, you can bring other settings. I must say at the beginning, you get slightly lost because of course you don't have any reference. But I'm sure that once you get used to it, it can be quite intuitive to use. Another nice thing that I really like is that Leica put this autofocus pad here, so you can quickly change your focus point by just using that, like you can do on many DSLRs. There's also 2 buttons, one to start the movie recording and the other one is to go in movie mode. You have a main dial on top to change the shutter speed, and a dial on the rear for the exposure when you work in manual mode. And if you want to change the main shooting mode, you just press the rear dial and you can switch from the different shooting modes. So overall, it seems to be a very intuitive camera to use once you get used to it. Inside we get the same sensor as the Leica Q, so it's a 24 megapixel CMOS sensor. Leica told me that the sensor has been slightly tweaked, so it's slightly better than the one I find in Leica Q. For example, the native ISO starts at 50 and not 100. There is also interesting video capabilities, and the camera can shoot in 4K at 30, 25 or 24 frames per second. It can shoot Full HD up to 120 frames per second, so that's also a nice option. And it has a V-Log, so it has a flat gamma profile that video maker will probably appreciate. And that becomes even more important because the camera can actually output from the HDMI a 10-bit 422 video signal. So it means that you can record the footage on an external recorder and have much better image quality, especially if you want to color grade very precisely your footage. You will get far better results with the external signal rather than the internal recording. And that's where the V-Log becomes even more interesting. As you can see, the HDMI port, it's a full HDMI port, it's not a micro or mini HDMI port, so that's something that filmmakers will appreciate, especially when you have to connect equipment. There's a USB 3 port as well. You have a flash sync port, you have a multi-port, and with the dedicated adapter you can have a mic input, headphone jack output, so you can monitor your audio as well. The shutter sound is very nice, as you can hear. I tested briefly also the continuous shooting capabilities. Now this camera can shoot at 11 frames per second, but it will lock focus at the first frame, so you have to lower the speed in order to track your subject with the camera. So it's 11 frames per second, but not with focus priority.
So this is a recording I made after shooting the hands-on video you're watching right now. I just wanted to add a few points about the autofocus, because this is the aspect of the camera that didn't impress me at all. It is very likely the DFD system that Panasonic uses on these most recent Lumix cameras. It's the same contrast detection type, so I would say it also has the same behavior. Overall, the autofocus locks fast enough, but a few times I had autofocus results even in good light. In worse light, it failed to lock a few times when switching quickly from one person to another. I did a quick continuous shooting test, and here again I was expecting better results. I definitely need to test this more in depth in different conditions, but as a first impression, again, I'm not really impressed by it.
Of course, you get Wi-Fi capabilities like every other camera, so there will be a dedicated app for your smart device to remote control the camera, transfer images. The 24-90mm is the first lens right now that will be available. There will be also a 90-280mm and a 50mm 1.4 Samilux. I think the second zoom lens will be available in the beginning of 2016, while the Samilux will be available at the end of the year. Of course, there are also adapters. You will be able to adapt M lenses, R lenses. Leica is even talking about there are cinema lenses, but that's very expensive. It's probably something that will only be used in very expensive Hollywood movies, and it's something that usually you rent and not buy. So, but still, it's an extra option. Another thing is that the mount is exactly the same as the Leica T, which means that you can use the T lenses without any adapter. Of course, the camera will work in crop mode instead of full frame mode. This is just a quick hands-on at the press event, so it's difficult to give you a full opinion about this camera. The idea I have is that this camera, even if it's presented as a professional camera that can compete with DSLRs and other mirrorless system, it looks like Leica designed it for its own niche photographer and its own market. And the reason is simple. It's way too expensive to compete against an A7R Mark II or other mirrorless system, or even a DSLR. I mean, a Nikon D800 with a 24-72.8 will still be half the price of this camera with the 24-90. Of course, it's a new system, so we have to see how it's gonna perform, what's gonna be the feedback, and who's gonna start using it. There's definitely potential, and it's big, it's heavy, so of course, it doesn't suit one of the main advantages of a mirrorless system, which is small and compact. Some professional photographers like to have a bigger body and to really feel the grip. And I must say the grip is great. It's great on the body, it's great on the lens. So that's a good point there, but after an entire day of shooting would definitely feel heavier. So that's it for this quick hands-on video. Of course, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave a comment in our YouTube video, or to also visit mirrorlesson.com, where there is a hands-on article about this camera with a few image samples you can see and download. So thank you again, and see you soon.